Hi, my name is Shauna Matney from Reimagine Your Normal. We're going to continue our talk about intuitive eating for beginners, and today it's focused on honoring your hunger. Diets teach us to ignore our hunger cues. They teach us that our bodies are wrong when they tell us that we're hungry and that we need to ignore those and follow a strict structure that tells us when to eat, how much to eat, how often to eat. It tells us, a lot of diets go by every 3 hours. You have like this little amount, or you eat, only 3 times a day, or you can only eat fruits and vegetables, or you can only eat soup, or whatever some of those weird diets are. Like, they're very strict, and they don't follow any kind of cravings, any kind of hunger cues. Like, they're not teaching you how to listen to your body. So that's where honoring your hunger cues come from. The hardest part for me was learning to trust my body, to trust that it knew what it was doing, which really is very silly. I mean, when we go back to when we're born, it's ingrained in us to know when we're hungry and when to eat and to stop when we're full. Like, we know all that. Somewhere along the way, we get it gets taught out of us, for lack of a better word. Diets have done such a number on us that we actually believe that we cannot trust our bodies, when really we can. Part of it is, like, for me, I think back to like the time periods when I'm not dieting. Well, during those time periods, like, I couldn't regulate my body. Like, my body wasn't doing what it was supposed to. But the key and the trick is that I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to my body. I was listening to my emotions. I was listening to my taste buds. I wasn't listening to what my body was telling me. And that is truly the key to intuitive eating, is to listen to what your body is trying to tell you. It knows what it's doing. Why do we want to honor our hunger? Why do we want to do that? Yes, it helps regulate food intake, but why do we want to honor the hunger? Is because if we don't do that and we get to a really hungry place, then we're less able to make good choices. So part of healthy eating is learning what is healthy, learning, when you crave chocolate, that you really need the magnesium that's in the chocolate. Okay, like that's part of education, and that will come. But for now, we just need to get down to like the root basics of stuff so that we can build on that. Foundation is so important. So we want to honor the hunger so that we are better able to use our learned knowledge to make good, healthy choices, to make good choices for food, to make choices that our body is telling us that we need. If we wait until we're starving, it's so hard to be like, okay, I'm really only this hungry. It's really hard to know that, okay, I only need to eat this much to feel full. But when you're starving, you just keep eating and eating, because it takes like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes for your brain to register that you're full, and all your brain is thinking is, I am starving. Get as much food in my belly as possible. So that's why you want to, that's why you want to honor your hunger. So the next part is how. How do you honor your hunger? So I always thought I was good at telling when I was hungry, because like I would get to a point where like I would just be hungry and I'm like, okay, I need to eat, or I'm going to start yelling at everybody. And something that I didn't know before I started doing research on this is that your body lets you know way ahead of time. Like, it lets you know, hey, I'm gonna be hungry soon, so maybe you should start thinking about finding some food for me. And then as more time goes by, it gets hungrier and hungrier. And for me, I wouldn't register the hunger cue until I was at a starving point. So it's gonna take some time, but just start listening. Progress, not perfection, okay? Like, don't ever beat yourself up about this stuff, because that is the complete opposite of the intention. So here's some tips. Number 1 is your stomach makes a growling sound. We've all heard that before, right? That one's pretty obvious. Another one is that you get lightheaded. When you're hungry, you start getting lightheaded. Irritability, which is the hangry. My husband is always making a joke that he calls me Betty White from the Snickers commercial, where like that guy turned into Betty White and was being a butt face because he was so hungry. You get a headache. That's another sign that you're hungry. Nausea. I know when I get really hungry, I get really lightheaded and I feel like I'm gonna throw up, and that's like the opposite feeling of what you would expect when you're hungry, because at that point you don't want to eat, right? You've gone way too long. lack of concentration. It can be really hard to think when you're hungry. That's why a lot of teachers will tell their kids to, or tell their students to eat a good breakfast before like a test or whatever that day, because it helps with concentration. Another one is a lack of energy. When you wake up in the morning, you haven't eaten like in hours and hours and hours. So could you get up and work out? A lot of people couldn't. There's a lack of energy. Like when you're hungry, you need to eat. Listen to your cravings. This one can be difficult. So if you're craving something salty, your go-to might be McDonald's French fries or potato chips. But there is alternatives. Like you can find other ways. I will post a little chart in the video right here. I will also have that chart in my blog post where you can actually go to the blog and look at it and really dig in, because I didn't give you enough time in this video to really look at it. But it shows you, like, if you're craving something sweet, if you're craving chocolate, if you're craving something salty, like what the mineral is that your body's actually missing or craving or needs more of, and then some healthier alternatives that will help you get that in your body. Again though, like if you're craving chocolate, you may really just be like emotionally craving the chocolate, or maybe you just really want the taste of the chocolate. Like just eat the chocolate is okay. So, and it's progress, not perfection. Just remember that there is no bad food. There isn't any bad food. There isn't any good food. There is healthy and maybe a little unhealthy, but the unhealthy food isn't bad. Like you're not a bad person for eating it. It is okay. Self-love. So I hope this helps with your hunger and learning to honor your hunger. If you are enjoying these videos, there is, I believe, 7 more to go. And so go ahead and subscribe. I do one every day. And then like or comment. And until next time.